Disclaimer: this story contains mature themes intended for adult viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. It started on a Saturday that felt like any other, until it didn't. The door opened slowly. Her voice floated out, soft and low like velvet worn thin. "Come in, I'm alone." And just like that, every part of me that knew better, hesitated. For half a second. Then I stepped inside. "My name's Marcus. I'm 22, broke, in college, and living in a town where everybody knows your name, but no one really knows who you are. I've been best friends with Ryan since 7th grade. He's like a brother to me. We've pulled each other out of fights, bad grades, breakups, and worse. His mom, Vanessa. She's always been just his mom. Until lately, she wasn't. Vanessa used to be someone I barely noticed, just the elegant woman in the background, with that effortless grace and tired eyes that never missed a thing. But something changed after her divorce last year. The way she looked at people shifted. She smiled less. Drank more wine. Talked slower. And when Ryan moved out for an internship, I started checking in on her. Out of kindness, at first. Or maybe loneliness. Mine or hers, I'm still not sure. What I do know is that the lines between concern and craving blur faster than you think. I'd go over under the excuse of fixing things, light bulbs, her garbage disposal, one time even her Wi-Fi. She'd pour a glass of red and lean against the doorway, barefoot, hair tied up, eyes on me like she could read every regret I'd ever had. She was nothing like the girls I knew. She didn't giggle. She didn't pretend. She didn't hide how unhappy she was, or how alive she felt when someone noticed her. I told myself I was being a good friend. A good guy. But the truth? I started looking forward to her texts more than Ryan's. I'd reread her messages late at night. I noticed every time her hand brushed mine, how her voice softened when she said my name. Then came that day, the one where the air felt too quiet and her words, "Come in, I'm alone," sounded like both an invitation and a warning. I should have left. I knew I should have left. But I didn't. Now I'm sitting here, heart pounding, watching her close the door behind me. And in that moment, I realized something. I've already crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. And what I don't know yet, is that Ryan's about to come back home early. The door clicked shut behind me, too softly, like it was trying not to make a sound it couldn't take back. Vanessa leaned against the frame, her fingers playing with the rim of her wine glass. The silence between us stretched, thick with all the things we hadn't said out loud. "I didn't think you'd come," she said, her voice husky but even. I swallowed hard. I almost didn't. Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "But you did." She turned and walked deeper into the living room, her bare feet making no sound on the wooden floor. I followed, but with a hesitation I hadn't felt before. Everything felt different now, like a breath held too long. The couch was still warm from where she'd been sitting. Her book lay open on the coffee table. Jazz played low from the speaker in the corner. It was domestic. Calm. But beneath it all, something twisted tighter. She sat, legs crossed, and gestured for me to join her. I didn't. "I ran into Ryan's cousin today," she said after a beat. "She asked about you. Asked if you were seeing anyone." My eyebrows lifted, uncertain. "What did you tell her?" Vanessa sipped her wine, slow and thoughtful. "That you were busy. And good at hiding things." I looked away. There it was again, that edge in her voice, like she was always a half step from saying something dangerous. "Do you think we're hiding?" I asked finally. Her eyes met mine. "Aren't we?" The room got quieter somehow. I sat down on the armchair across from her instead of the couch. That was new. She noticed. "I miss when you used to sit next to me," she said softly. "When you'd laugh like you didn't care who was listening." "I still laugh," I murmured. "Just not here." Her face tightened, barely. So where do you laugh now? I didn't answer. She stood, setting her glass down. You're pulling away. I don't know what this is anymore, Vanessa. She crossed the space between us slowly, stopping just short of touching me. Her hand hovered by my face, then fell back to her side. You knew what it was when you walked in, she whispered. What changed? I looked up at her, torn. And before I could speak, her phone buzzed. Once. Then again. She didn't move to check it. But I did. Ryan. The name on the phone's screen glowed like an accusation, Ryan. I didn't say anything. Neither did she. The silence was louder than any argument could have been. Vanessa glanced at the phone, then at me, and in that moment I saw it, guilt flickering behind her eyes. But something else too, fear. Not fear of being caught, fear of losing whatever this was between us, undefined as it still remained. She picked up the phone, let it vibrate once more in her hand, then placed it face down on the table. He said he might come back early, she said quietly, her voice barely a whisper. His new apartment wasn't ready. Some plumbing issue. I rubbed the back of my neck, heartbeat loud in my ears. When? She shook her head. Tonight. Tomorrow. I don't know. Everything in the room shifted. I thought you told him, I said. Told him what? Her tone was sharper now, defensive. That I was leaning on his best friend to fill the space his father left? That I was lonely? That sometimes she trailed off, biting her bottom lip. Marcus, I don't even know what this is. How could I tell him? I stood up. The distance between us felt suddenly enormous. You kissed me, I said. The words landed heavy. You asked me to stay. To hold you that night after your ex came by. Her eyes filled with something unspoken. Pain? Regret? Maybe both. I needed someone that night, she said. And you were the only one who saw me. Not the mom. Not the ex-wife. Me. I remembered that night too well. The storm outside, the wine, her hair falling in loose curls, her trembling hands. I hadn't planned to stay, but I hadn't wanted to leave either. And when she leaned into me, needing warmth more than promises, I let it happen. And maybe that was the start of the end. But it wasn't just about that night anymore. It was the way she'd text at midnight. The way she lingered when I touched her arm. The way her voice always dropped when she said my name. I didn't know what we were, but I knew we weren't nothing. Then her phone buzzed again. A message lit up, just long enough to read, Mom, I'm 20 minutes away. She reached out for me, instinctively. Marcus, please. Don't leave like this. But I was already halfway to the door. My chest was tight. My head a mess. I paused at the threshold, the air thick behind me, her perfume clinging to the silence. Tell him the truth, Vanessa, I said without turning. Or eventually, I will. And with that, I walked out. But I wasn't sure if I was leaving her, or just delaying the collapse of everything we'd buried under quiet moments and almosts. The air outside hit colder than I expected. I walked, aimless, trying to outrun a feeling that clung too close to my skin. Her voice was still in my head. The way she said, please, like she wasn't asking me to stay for her, but to stay for something we hadn't named. I ended up back at my apartment, but it didn't feel like anything. The lights were too bright. The silence too wide. I stared at my phone. One unread message. From her. Vanessa, I didn't want it to happen like this. I didn't reply. I couldn't. Because she wasn't wrong, and neither was I. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay there, eyes open, the ceiling spinning slow. Every memory was louder now, her laugh the first time I told her about my dumb childhood nickname, the way her hand would rest on mine just a second too long, the night I found her crying in the kitchen with the fridge still open. We were never supposed to matter. But somehow, we did. At 2:14 a.m., my phone buzzed again. A photo. Her backyard. Dimly lit. One word, here. I should have deleted it. I should have turned over and forced myself to forget. Instead, I found myself driving. When I got there, she was standing barefoot on the patio, wrapped in a sweater that barely kept the wind out. Her hair danced in the breeze. She looked up when she heard my car. No smile. Just eyes that begged without words. I stepped out. Neither of us moved. For a long time. Ryan's asleep, she whispered. I needed to see you. I shouldn't be here, I said, voice low. But you are. I didn't move. I couldn't. Every part of me ached to close the distance, and every thought told me I shouldn't. I miss the way you look at me, she said, eyes glistening. Like I'm still something beautiful. You are, I said, without meaning to. She stepped forward. Inches from me now. The space between us held everything we hadn't said. If I moved forward, it would mean something. If I turned away, it would break something. And all I could think was, how did something so quiet become this loud? The distance between us was only a breath now. But it might as well have been a wall. She looked up at me, eyes flickering with something raw, regret or need, I wasn't sure. Her lips parted like she was about to speak, but the words didn't come. Not yet. I finally stepped closer. Close enough to feel the warmth radiating off her skin. You're here, she whispered. I nodded once. So are you. She reached for my hand, but this time it wasn't slow or careful, it was urgent. Her fingers trembled as they laced with mine, and I saw the truth in her eyes. This wasn't just loneliness anymore. This was something else. Something deeper. But before I could speak, she said something that cracked the night wide open. He knows about us. The words hit harder than a slap. I pulled back. What? She let go of my hand, turned away. Not everything. Not directly. But I saw the way he looked at me when I asked if he was staying for the weekend. And then he said it. Are you seeing someone? My chest tightened. And what did you say? I lied, she said, voice trembling. I said no. But then he asked another question, one I wasn't ready for. I stepped closer again, slower this time. What did he ask? Her eyes met mine. He asked if it was you. I felt my throat tighten. Vanessa looked down, arms wrapping around herself. He's not stupid. He saw the signs. You've been distant with him lately. And he mentioned the night he came back early last week, said your car was still warm. I cursed under my breath. She took a shaky breath. He didn't push. But Marcus, if he finds out what this really is, what is it, Vanessa? I asked, not out of anger but from exhaustion. What are we doing? She shook her head. I don't know. I just know it doesn't feel wrong when you're near me. Before either of us could say more, the back door creaked open. We froze. A shadow stepped into the doorway. It wasn't Ryan. It was a woman. Mid-30s. Dark hair, striking eyes. She looked between us, confusion painting her face. Vanessa, she said carefully. You didn't tell me you had company. Vanessa stiffened. Claire, this is Marcus. Ryan's friend. Claire's eyes narrowed, subtle, but sharp. Her gaze lingered on our closeness. On our guilt. Something in her expression shifted, recognition, maybe. Or jealousy. Then she smiled. Funny. Ryan mentioned a Marcus too. And just like that, I realized this story was deeper than I ever thought. And I wasn't the only one keeping secrets. Claire's presence shattered the fragile space Vanessa and I had been trying to protect. She didn't say much, but her eyes, sharp and deliberate, stripped away any illusion we had left. Vanessa stood straighter, like her backbone had suddenly remembered its weight. "Claire, it's late. Maybe we can talk in the morning?" Claire stepped down into the yard, her voice calm. "No, I think now's perfect. Since Marcus is here. Since Ryan is in the house. Since secrets seem to be leaking through every wall." I turned to Vanessa. "Who is she?" Vanessa hesitated, then sighed. "My sister. Half-sister." Claire gave a dry laugh. "Half, yes. Half the shame, double the drama." My chest tightened. Why are you here?" Claire's expression softened, not with kindness, but clarity. "Because Ryan didn't just come home tonight by accident. He sent me. Said he needed to know if what he suspected was real." Vanessa's hand flew to her mouth. "He sent you to spy on me?" Claire didn't blink. "He loves you. Not just as a son. As someone who didn't want to believe the woman he trusted was lying to him." The silence fell like ash. Then Claire added, "And he's in love with someone, too. Someone he didn't know was involved, until he saw a photo on your phone, Vanessa. A photo of Marcus, with me." My stomach dropped. Vanessa turned to me slowly. "You knew Claire?" I nodded, stunned. "A few months ago. We dated. Briefly. I didn't know she was your sister." "I swear." Claire's voice cracked the silence again, but softer this time. "That night I asked you if you were seeing someone else. You said it was complicated. I didn't realize it was this complicated. It was all unraveling now. A mess of choices and near misses and moments where someone should have told the truth but didn't." Vanessa looked between us, me, her sister, her son asleep inside. Her eyes filled with tears, but her voice was steady. "Maybe we were never supposed to last. Maybe this was just what we needed to realize, that we were holding on to loneliness, not love." She reached for my hand, squeezed it gently. "I'll tell Ryan. Everything. He deserves to hear it from me." As I stepped back, heart aching, I realized something else. Some love stories don't end in kisses. They end in confessions that come too late. 3 weeks passed. The summer air grew heavier, quieter. And somewhere between silence and the sound of letting go, life moved forward. Vanessa called Ryan the next morning. No more secrets. No more soft lies pretending to protect him. She told him everything, about me, about her, and about the nights that blurred between comfort and confusion. There were no raised voices, only the hollow sound of something breaking gently. A bond. A trust. He didn't come back right away. I haven't spoken to him since. Claire and I met once more, at a coffee shop. No drama, just closure. She asked if I ever meant to hurt her. I told her no, that I was just a boy pretending I wasn't lost. She smiled, bittersweet, and said, "We all were." Vanessa moved out of the house 2 weeks later. Said she needed a fresh start. Something that didn't echo with the footsteps of everything that went unsaid. She left me a note on my windshield the day she drove off. "Some love isn't meant to last. But it teaches us what we're really searching for. Don't stop looking, Marcus. Just look for it in the light, not in the shadows." I read that note every morning now. What happened between Vanessa and me was real. But it wasn't right. Not for her. Not for Ryan. Not for the version of myself I wanted to be. I learned something no one teaches you, that love, when born out of broken things, can still feel beautiful. But if it's built on secrecy, it crumbles with every truth you avoid. And sometimes the greatest form of love is letting someone go. Maybe Vanessa and I were each other's mistake. Or maybe we were just the wake-up call we both needed. But I'll never forget the way she looked at me in the moonlight. And I think she won't forget me either.